Good evening. Today is Tuesday, September 24th. This is the regular meeting of the Rhinebeck Central School Board of Education. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 10th, 2019 regular meeting?
So
Second.
Any changes or corrections? All those in favor? That motion that minutes are approved. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 12th, 2019 emergency special meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any changes, corrections? All those in favor? That's everyone, and abstain. Public comment? Okay, we move right into reports and discussions, and we have our principal here with us here tonight. Oh,
So I was asked by Brett to make his apologies to you for not being able to be here tonight, but he did share his board report with me and asked me to share it with you. CLS opened the school year with 378 students. In building level planning team news, the goal this year will be to look at the format of our annual open houses and see what we can do to streamline the process while still providing time for all outside organizations to participate and the possibility of increasing student involvement. K2 and 3-5 open houses have taken place in the last 2 weeks. Thanks to Mark and Steve for attending and speaking. Exciting initiatives reported to parents. 1, second year of Big Ideas Math have received great feedback per the new program. 2, first year of 3-year transition to Lucy Calkin's units of study and writing, beginning with kindergarten and first grade. Pinwheels for Peace for International Day of Peace on Friday, September 20th, with all K-5 to represent their commitment to promoting peace within our school community, and joined approximately 7 million students worldwide who also participated in this art installation. Each student planted their pinwheel, and for the 4th year in a row, we did the pledge together. The entire school participated. Nora Kindley in grade 5 pen pal exchange with children who are Syrian refugees. Read age-appropriate books to teach about some of the challenges these children face, provide opportunities for children to correspond throughout the year. Peer mediation is beginning early this year. They'll be working with the 5th grade team to identify student members once they've received their applications and essays. They've begun accepting faculty proposals for enrichment programs. A few new proposals this year include Lego robotics and math enrichment for higher level math students to accompany extra help math. Full day CLS this Friday, Superintendent's Conference Day. Some of the highlights include full CLS staff in the morning with representatives from the Anderson Center, ABC model of challenging behavior and beginning behavior planning, creating a common language around a school-wide model. K1 will be working with Audrey Wood on writing units, overview of writing pathways and how it can help focus and inform the teaching of writing, discuss learning progressions and use of assessments, pre, during, and post for planning for class and individuals. 2, conferencing so it is meaningful and moves student skills along. Please bring materials and questions/concerns. Grades 2, 3, and 4 and the AIS math team will be working with a Big Ideas consultant beyond the basics training, discussing pacing of daily lessons and enrichment opportunities within the system, as well as continued support around the digital offerings. And finally, grade 5 will be working with Barbara Recchio, learning about this new science curriculum and live labs, and continuing their work from this past summer. A couple of upcoming events: the ENL parent meeting and Title I AIS open house will be held on October 23rd. The grade 4 human engineering project at Ramapo will take place on October 22nd. Thanks as always to the RSF for granting this opportunity. And finally, Madagascar Day, dance program grade 8 and grade 2 partnerships. That will take place on October 22nd in the CLS cafeteria. Little news from the start of the school year from CLS. Any questions that I can pass along to Brett? I can make up answers, but I will certainly get answers answers for you.
I thought his open house of having kids there for 3-5 worked really well. I thought it was a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, and seeing the kids drag their parents to the classrooms was kind of fun. Brought back memories for me. It's fun.
I'll certainly pass that along. Putting on my next hat and my usual hat, I always start this report with a great big thank you to Sheldon Teeter and his O&M crew in my 15 years here, and for many of us, except for going back to the 2005 years of the big building project. I don't think we've taken on quite so much work over such a short period of time. His crew did a phenomenal job. Not only did Sheldon do a yeoman's work in terms of supervising the project taking place, but many of his staff really stepped up and did additional work. I know as you walked around the building, I'm sure you heard that painting wasn't included in the project, and people were here working overtime to make sure that our classrooms were ready for our staff and our students when they returned in the fall. So thank you to his crew. BMS opened with just under 250 students this year. 11 new students joined us from various other districts and several private placements. We've completed all of our transition activities, beginning with our 6th grade Walk Your Schedule night. That took place on the 29th of August. We had 86% of our 6th grade parents, and I'll provide you with some stats for open house, and you'll see that this is a very enthusiastic group of parents. But we had 86% of our 6th grade parents attend that evening. It's the first year that we piloted trying it out, and basically just because it was the last day that we felt we could do it and give the construction crews and Sheldon and his crew as long as he possibly could to get their work done. But we piloted holding it simultaneously with the 9th grade Walk Your Schedule, and something that the high school and we have not done because we thought it would be a little too chaotic and crowded, and it turned out to be a lot of fun. We had a lot of older siblings working with younger siblings. We had both high school peer mentors there, along with middle school students who were showing our new students in 6th grade and 9th grade around. So it turned out to be a success, and though we haven't talked about it, maybe something we continue to do in the future. As I said, open house, we held that earlier this month, and again, just some stats. 95% of our 6th grade parents attended open house this year, greater than any year that I've been here. 70% of our 7th grade parents, 74% of our 8th grade parents. Not exact figures because we do have some families obviously that span more than one grade. Thank you very much to Matt for presenting on behalf of the Board of Education this year. One of the things we added to this year's program, and you may have heard or not, 2 of our 6th grade staff members put together a Canvas information session and demo. As we've talked about in the past, and as you know, many of my 6th grade staff use Canvas to communicate with parents, and we've had some difficulty over the years, or in the past couple of years, with parents being able to figure it out and kind of understand. We've provided some online tutorials and things like that. This was the first time we really had such a large group of parents in one space. It was standing room only in the BMS computer lab, but it's really been helpful. As we begin the school year, many of our teachers are anxious to put the products of their summer curriculum work to practice. A few highlights include in Science 8, we're continuing to align the curriculum with the new science learning standards. This summer, Ms. Coble focused primarily on the development and differentiation of inquiry-based labs. In an effort to better align their practice 6-8, the ELA department worked as a group, developing a scope and sequence for grammar and vocabulary instruction, as well as aligned rubrics for its assessment across all 3 grade levels. And in addition, they developed a unified approach to integrating independent reading into the existing ELA curriculum. Members of the PBS staff continued their preparation for implementation of the recently adopted K-12 guidance plan. More specifically, lesson plans were developed to work with 6th and 7th grade students on goal setting, interest, skills, and values assessments, along with an introduction to naviance. We're excited about that. As always, technology integration was a focus of a lot of my staff's summer curriculum work. Math 7, Ms. Barnes continued her work with flipped classrooms. She added units 5 and 6, continuation of her last 2 years summer curriculum work and is working her way through the school year. ELA 6 conversion from smart software to Google Slides for use with Canvas. In 6th and 7th grade gateway to technology, all of our assessments and syllabi were updated and revised. On ELA 6, Math 6, Computer Science 1 and 2, the conversion to Canvas and that use of that platform continues. As we begin each year, our 6th grade staff really focuses on the transition from CLS to BMS, the elementary school to the middle school. We had a number of pro-social skills lessons that have taken place over the course of the past 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, and will continue over the course of the next several weeks. These lessons focus on building community, creating common expectations, empowerment, fostering empathy, and inclusion for all students. As several of you are aware, because you were asked to fill them out yourselves, BMS piloted distribution of a parent report for teachers this year. Feedback from the staff has been very positive so far. Judging if sheer volume of information is any indication, parents appreciated the opportunity to share information about their child with us as well. As we did last year, we took the opportunity and we kind of folded it into the parent report to poll families about computer access at home and Wi-Fi access at home. As I said, a number of our teachers use the Canvas platform and a number of other platforms to enhance student learning, and it's obviously we want to make sure that there's equity for all students. Through the hard work of Carmela Fountain and Michelle Ramondi, along with several donations and support from the Thompson Trust, we've been able to provide 5 students in need with laptops, which I believe ensures access at this point for all 6th and 7th grade students having access at home. We're still collating the 8th grade responses, but we intend to work with those families as well to ensure that those families are able to access technology at home as well. All of our extracurricular clubs are up and running. They've all had their first meetings over the course of the last 2 weeks. In addition, students are being identified kind of early on, potential of being at risk, and we're going to get our extra help after school programs up and running somewhere around the 5-week mark. This fall, the Anthropology Club will once again have the opportunity to work with our archaeology professor, Dr. Charles Littner. In addition to being invited to participate on a local dig, which we've done for the last couple of years, Mr. Littner has also offered the services of several of his graduate students who are going to come and work with our club members in advance of the dig and post-dig, just to enhance their experience a little bit and strengthen their learning. A couple of upcoming events. October 4th, 6th grade students will travel to the Bronx Zoo. This was designed as a teen and community building day for our students and our staff. As students complete their transition to middle school, the 6th grade team has created a number of lessons for the day focusing on each of the core content areas, as well as tying their learning to Madagascar Day, which will take place on October 25th. October 25th, Madagascar Day. Once again, through the coordination of a number of different organizations, quite a few of my faculty members, and thanks to the financial support of the Rhinebeck Science Foundation, students will be engaged in activities in and outside the school in an effort to increase their global awareness. I'll have the opportunity and pleasure of sharing a little bit more about that day with you in October, as I've invited a couple of my organizers to come and speak with you about the program and share some of the experiences the students are going to have. And finally, on October 29th, the 6th grade circus comes back to town for, I believe, its 27th year. So, a few of the things going on at BMS.
Any questions, anybody?
So thank you for putting into action the parent, the student information handout. That was great. I was glad to see you were combining it with gathering some information about computers and internet at home too. How did that information then get to the teachers? What happened after it came back?
It was gathered by teaching teams, so teaching teams have all seen and reviewed the information. Teams have have kept a set of all the responses, an alphabetized set of all the responses for use within the grade level team. And then we have a master copy that's available to staff in the main office. And we're using that for LLL teachers that have those students, as well as PPS staff, Mr. Berg, myself, to be able to have that information as well.
Excellent, thank you.
Sean, just a couple of 95% for the 6th grade. That's really impressive. That's great
Yeah,
numbers.
I was shocked.
It's an important opportunity for parents to participate, so it's good to see those numbers. Do you know what the forms that the parents filled out, I don't know that they do it this way, Chancellor, but is there a plan to keep them from year to year? It just strikes me there could be information that could be useful every year to kind of look back on and say,
We haven't had any talks formally as this is the first time we've done this, but I can certainly see value in that. We may not keep multiple copies of them like we have now, but we'll certainly keep a master list from year to year.
And then the presentation they did on Canvas, which is great for parents because when they don't know what to do, it's difficult. Is that going to be available on the website?
It is available on the website. It's available on the website, and as soon as we have all of that kind of worked out and finalized, and then I'm going to send it home to everybody as well.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to echo some of my colleague John's sentiments and commend our facilities maintenance staff. As you may recall, right after commencement, beginning of the summer, they got to work on preparing our physical plant for a pretty extensive capital improvement project that it underwent. So I really want to recognize their work. There were some rumors, as Joe and Tom might confirm, that maybe we won't open on time. That was never going to happen. Two, I want to recognize our guidance staff who were relocated. They had a choice either to become my roommate, Mark, my roommate in my office, or move across the other side of the building. They moved to the other side of the building. I want to congratulate their work in holding up their end of their responsibilities for a smooth opening. In terms of some facts and figures, we welcomed in the high school 330 students back to school this year, 87 students in 9th grade, 75 in 10th grade, 88 students in 11th grade, and 80 in the senior class. We had 15 new registrants, including one exchange student, and 4 students transferred out of our school, 2 because their parents moved out of the district, and 2 students enrolled in independent schools. Again, as Mr. Kemnitzer noted before we started, Mr. Berg organized a new student orientation. As John indicated, it was combined with the 6th grade walkthrough orientation, and I would characterize it, I think my colleague would agree, as good chaos and good energy. So we're certainly going to revisit that for next year and see if we can organize the same sort of experience for our students. This is the 8th year of our peer mentoring club. It's advised by our school social worker, Megan Rodier. And this year, with some guidance and input from David Levine, who's the director of the Teaching Empathy Institute, Megan and David trained 37 peer mentors from the high school in learning about team building activities, listening skills, communication skills, and other attributes they'll need in order to serve as a leadership resource in the high school. Their first assignment was to help orient and induct students who were new to our district, and they almost all of them turned out to help welcome our new students to our district. So they are due congratulations and our support. In building level planning team updates, this year, for the 2nd year, we continued a program that we piloted last year. Last year, as you may recall, the team decided to ask faculty to provide each incoming high school student with a personalized message or note welcoming them to the school year. It was distributed to students in their agenda books. This year, we had a general welcome to all incoming 9th graders, and our high school faculty, again, wrote a personalized message to each incoming 10th, 11th, and 12th grader, which was then distributed to each of our students on the first day of school in our class meetings. I had the privilege again of distributing the agenda books to our students and watching them as they, and I'm not exaggerating, I don't think, eagerly turned to the bookmark and read the bookmark and shared it with a friend and tried to guess who wrote the sentiment. So again, I think it was, from the BLPT's perspective, a very positive way to open the school year and a positive way to welcome our students back to the high school. The BLPT has conducted its first meeting, and we are planning some follow-up activities based on the community read of the graphic novel March that was distributed last year to our incoming ninth grade students. In some academic updates, the English department, with the support of the Rhinebeck Science Foundation, will conduct a second info chat this year. That will take place in mid-November. As you remember, this is an opportunity for our seniors to interview local professionals, business people, entrepreneurs, to help seniors conduct research on potential career choices. And then our seniors write a research paper using this information and submit those papers to their English teachers. In addition, I'm very pleased to share that our journalism and media courses have taken responsibility for producing our daily bulletin. And if you'll indulge me, I think 13 or 14 years ago, the daily bulletin was read in third period, sometimes by me, sometimes by a secretary, sometimes by a student. Now, the daily bulletin is available to our students in video format and is broadcast to our students every day during third period class. And if you're interested in this daily broadcast, it's available on rhinebeckreality.org. That's our website for our school newspaper, and embedded on that page is our daily bulletin. It only takes 2 or 3 minutes to watch. It's a relatively short announcement. So congratulations to our English department, art department, and our students who have taken a giant leap in communicating with their peers. In the math department, with the support of our district and with the assistance from the Office of Curriculum and Instruction, 2 of our math teachers will be attending the regional conference of the National Council of Teachers of Math this Thursday and Friday. At this conference, they're excited to be able to connect with colleagues in the math education community, share knowledge, resources, tools, and classroom best practices, and then bring those best practices back here to their colleagues. As Mr. Kemminster mentioned, we've begun implementing the use of Naviance. Our school counselors and Isabel Usowitz received extensive training in this platform over the summer, and we're going to be rolling out this resource in college and career research in our health class for 9th graders, and in college and careers 1 and college and careers 2 this year for our 10th and 11th graders. Students over the next several weeks will begin logging in to this resource and exploring it, and once they've done that, we will be providing access to parents, so parents as well can log into this resource and learn alongside their children in terms of what college application processes are like, what college resources are like, what career resources are available to them. This year, the high school faculty has provided, again, with updated education research that clearly shows the academic effectiveness of developing a growth mindset. As you recall, the growth mindset is a set of practices that emphasizes the fact that learning ability is not a fixed quality, but it's something that can be developed and improved over time. As a result, in the high school, we're going to continue to introduce 9th grade students to the growth mindset in 2 separate classes over the course of the 9th grade year, and we'll continue to implement growth mindset approaches and messages throughout our high school in order to support our students' academic achievement. In extracurricular news, similar to the middle school, all of our extracurricular activities are up and running. The Drama Club has selected a non-musical play for their fall performance. It's entitled Almost Maine by John Cariani. Apparently, it's very well known. I did not know about it until I read the play. It's at the end, but it's going to be a great show. The Drama Club will also sponsor a talent show. Our spring musical will be selected and announced shortly, probably in a couple weeks, say 3 weeks. In Model UN news, as you remember, at the end of last year, our Model UN was invited to participate again in the World Summit of Nobel Peace Laureates, September 17th to 22nd in Merida, Mexico. 11 of our students attended, and they have returned inspired and eager to share their learning with their peers and with the school community. Mr. Moore and I and the Model UN will be planning opportunities for the club to share their experiences with their peers. In student council news, based on the success of our students' first Hawk Day in May, it seems just like yesterday, doesn't it? The Student Council is planning another Hawk Day in the fall to welcome students back to school and to open up the Andy Bennett Tournament. This will take place on October 11th. In addition to as part of the Hawk Day, the Fall Hawk Day, students will conduct an activity fair, and this is an opportunity for all of our students to become acquainted with the co-curricular activities that are available to them in Rhinebeck High School. So looking ahead, our open house takes place Thursday, September 26th, and Mr. Jenkins will kindly address our parents. We will have a senior parent meeting taking place on October 3rd at 6:30, and this will feature a beginning presentation from a financial aid officer from Dutchess Community College. We will be administering the PSAT on October 19th.
Thank you for being here. We'll move on to board committee reports. Audit.
So we discussed Michelle Keeler, who's the new claims auditor. She started in August and we've been catching up since then. Hopefully the audit committee will meet her at the next meeting. Tom discussed envisions and the challenges that are coming in, differences between the old and new system for payroll and payable portions. Thinks it's going to be much more smooth and efficient as they go on, but there is a big learning curve. There is a budget negotiations components that would be nice to have an idea if they'll work for our negotiations and budgets process this season. Then we started looking at the request for our administrator's report briefly.
Questions? Okay. Policy?
Policy is here. We revisited policy 5220, student publications. Joe let us know that the students expressed interest in using a particular software, but the school needs to see the benefits, how it operates, the cost, etc. Joe has made an appointment with Sarah Wheeler to discuss the details. There are no legal roadblocks to the newspaper selling sponsorship space because the newspaper is an extracurricular activity. The issue then becomes which sponsors are not appropriate, and using the code of conduct as our guideline, who decides which sponsorships should be printed. They also discuss the digital publication is not a problem for legal advice, and make the policy reflect that the students can publish digitally and hard copy. The publication needs to add a masthead with bylaws and who is the publisher. Joe is creating a draft policy to address these topics and will review with Ed Davenport and Sarah Wheeler. Policy number 5182, release time for religious instruction. The school had been approached in regards to using our classrooms, and per legal advice, it is constitutional for us to host religious instructions outside of school hours, but our policy is against that. And then the state mandated voter registration for students. Students who are 16 by November must be given the opportunity to register to vote. Joe suggests we do every September for the 11th and 12th grades. Social study classes, Joe will talk with Ed Davenport about how best to do the registration. Our next meeting is March 28th.
Any questions for policy?
March 28th. Holy
Oh,
cow.
Well, clearly, that was a cut and paste issue. Or no.
No one has
Sometimes-
any of those.
I feel your pain.
Check the back here, hopefully.
When is it?
We're gonna find it.
It's
Okay.
maybe on the sheet.
No, it's not.
It is Thursday, October 10th.
Thursday.
Way to go, Whitney.
Okay, move on to communication.
That's me. So we talked basically about a brochure that the committee and Steve Jensen have been gradually developing over time for families that might be interested in moving to the district or other people who might be interested in learning more about the district. So we looked at the progress that Steve has made and talked about upcoming ideas. And then we spent the rest of the time pretty much talking about the district website and the gradual improvements that Steve has been making to the website. He doesn't want to do an overhaul, but just sort of gradual couple changes here and there so it doesn't throw people off too much. And he provided some context for the website problems that the district experienced in August. The website sustained repeated attacks in a way that our host had to keep shutting down the site to protect it. The good news was that our security effectively thwarted the attacks. And also good news, we don't keep any private data on the website, so nothing critical would have been gained by attackers, even if they had been successful in breaching our security systems. The bad news was it was inconvenient for families in the weeks leading up to the school's opening. And cybersecurity will continue to be a major concern for public schools as trends indicate increasing numbers of attacks just throughout public schools. So our next meeting is October 23rd.
Any questions for communication? Long range planning.
That is me as well. So we talked about what was covered in the administrators retreat. We also talked a fair bit about what didn't get covered in the administrators retreat, but we would like to be covered still before December. And Joe assures us that it is still possible to pull together the information that the committee is looking for by December. But we were really looking for the administrators to explore thoroughly what a K-6 712 model for our schools would look like in an ideal version. How can we take this potential opportunity, which we are not certainly committed to, but just how could we make it even something that's even better than our current model? And so we had a lot of questions that we'd like to see explored and developed and answered in order to then bring to the board to be able to make a decision if that's a model that the district would want to go to. And then we also talked about the draft of the Questar audit report and things that need to continue to happen before that draft gets to its final stage.
Any questions for long range planning?
So during the summer, the administrators did not look at a new plan for the buildings, is that?
We didn't get that far. We met for a day and a half. In fact, we just met this afternoon for 2 hours on that very topic. So we'll have that information to the board when it's done. And it will be sometime early fall, in plenty of time for the December, the self-imposed December deadline for that.
Okay. Okay, so you're confident that they'll be able to do that?
I am confident.
Okay, all right. I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for long range planning?
Just ask again, there's no format for what a long-range plan report should look at from anybody else? Is it really kind of from scratch with this idea, or is there anything that we kind of come across that we could find a template?
For a K-6, 712?
No, for the plan that 3 to 5 year long range plan that we're supposed to deliver.
Well, that's what we said we were going to discuss when we met.
Yeah, I know, I'm
This
just
comes
curious
later.
if anybody at the board level has seen anybody else's plan that might give us a head start into getting that done.
I think we're in uncharted territory there.
No, I don't think you're too far off. I mean,
Not the financial part, I think there were plans.
no, I think what I can try to do over the next week before we meet, I can run a Google search on New York State long-range plans for school districts. And I'm sure there's probably at least 50 or 60 out there that other schools have gone through that posted on their websites.
Why don't we each try to do that before the next meeting and each of us see if we can come together with some ideas.
Right.
Yeah, because there's quite a few out there. I know Grand Island had one. There was a couple of them that definitely had some.
I mean, hopefully there's ones that address declining enrollment, since that's our.
Yeah, not all of them
None
were.
of them were.
Yeah, because, I mean, I was a part of a long-range plan, but that was more towards building facilities, not towards.
Yeah, I think you're gonna find that what you find is gonna vary from district to district. There's no, like, there's not a state template,
Right.
so it's gonna be all over the place, but we still make some good ideas from
Right,
what other people have done. But like Tom said, some of them may address certain issues that were germane to that school district at that time, and they may not be the issues that we're dealing with. Oh, I mean, we may find something out there.
Would it be, would you look at the district, or is it, it's public information, yeah? So, would we look at the
If-
state
if-
level, or?
No, at the individual school
At the
district
schools,
levels.
specific
Yep,
districts? Okay.
yep.
Anything else? Long-range plan?
Got somebody I could talk to. What's her name?
That's all the committee reports. 2019 NYSSBA proposed bylaw amendments and resolutions.
So, I'd like to suggest that perhaps Mark address that, since that was the topic of last week's Dutchess County School Boards Association. We spend much of the time doing that, so.
Yeah, so at the meeting, we had a representative from NYSSBA at the meeting. I was a little disappointed that she really didn't provide as much information as I would have liked. She primarily answered people's questions. So we went through each of the resolutions. There was, I would say, quite a bit of discussion about the proposed bylaw amendment. Not that anybody was opposed to it, just people had questions, and that is, it's on page 8. So there's a proposed bylaw amendment to allow a representative on the resolutions committee from the caucus of black school board members. For those that may not be aware, a couple of years ago, there was a resolution to add a member of the caucus to the board of directors of NYSSBA, which passed, and so now they're proposing to add a member of the caucus of black school board members to the resolutions committee, which doesn't seem to be any opposition, but there were a few questions about that. And then, we went through the others. I know we discussed at our last meeting, I think it's 16.
Page 15 or
Resolution, 19 and 20, that are proposed by Weebatuck.
Yeah.
So there was a representative from Weebatuck at the meeting, so I did bring that up. It sounds like the Weebatuck board has a few board members that they would like to get training, and they're kind of trying to make NYSSBA be the bad guy and suggest that people go to training. I mean, just to put it very simply.
That's what it read.
So, we'll see what happens there, but, I mean, not that people were really opposed to the resolutions, but, for me, it seems like a bit of a stretch for NYSSBA to suggest that
a local
school
decision.
districts put in their policies that, mandatory training. So, I mean, there is mandatory training in the finance area that's state imposed. I'm not sure that other mandatory training is needed. We have, in our policy, we have, recommended that new school board members take a certain amount of training. So, I think it's up to each individual school board to make those decisions and put it in their policy.
I agree. I mean, training is always a great thing, but these trainings are not always free, and people don't always have time, and I don't think they should be mandated to have.
Right. So, I mean, other than that, those were really the major points of discussion. For the most part, people were pretty favorable toward the rest of the resolutions.
I mean, we did go through each resolution,
through each and every
so we
one.
chewed up a bunch of real estate at that meeting. But I thought it was time well spent, just so at least everybody who walked out of there, we know had read the booklet from resolution 1 through
Right.
through the last one, which is a good thing.
Was there any talk about the school bus driver one, changing the?
There was, and I think everybody was pretty much opposed to that resolution, just because 18 is a young age for people to be driving school buses, in my opinion, at least.
Did it come about because of a bus driver shortage?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, that's exactly the reason.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
So
Mark.
I will, as we have done every year, place this discussion item on our next 2 board meetings. Of course, if we don't have to discuss it just because it's on the agenda, if there's nothing that people want to discuss, we can move on, but maybe by then something will have come to your attention, or you'll have gotten a letter from one of the boards that's proposing one of the resolutions, asking for your support. So I mean, there may be things that bubble up, as Mark mentioned at our last meeting. Didn't seem like there were a lot of controversial items. I mean, some years there have been some pretty heavy topics. This year is a little on the lightweight side. So it may not take us 2 more board meetings to grind through the whole booklet. I mean, we've pretty much gone through it already. But I'll put it on the agenda anyway. If there's any discussion, that's great. If there isn't, we'll move on to the next item.
Mark, can I just ask on resolution 1, did they give any more color on that? I mean, we already have DESA, we've got Title IX overviews for kids. I mean, we're doing quite a bit already for this. I mean, what role do they really think Board of Education and the local districts should be doing it above and beyond that?
So I'd say that we had some discussion on this, but everybody seemed to think it was pretty a fair idea for the NYSSBA to be proposing this.
Are they going to come back with strategies, or are they just going to leave it open-ended for individual boards to implement whatever?
I would say they're probably going to leave it open-ended.
Because, I mean, they really have no...
Well, then how do you monitor progress? Right, if every school's doing a different thing, I don't understand how they're going to achieve the goal.
Yeah, I mean, I would bet that if this resolution passes, they'll come up with training opportunities, they'll have suggested policies, those kind of things. I'm not sure that they'll really come up with anything that they expect school districts to do.
I mean, it's not a mandate, and they're on kind of shaky ground even proposing a mandate, so I doubt it's going to go down that road, just based on past years. But they'll want to encourage, and they'll provide some supports, and it'll be up to each individual school district to do what they feel is appropriate.
Anybody else? Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
Good news. We've already had so much good news. Anybody have any other good news?
Oh, right ahead.
So I went to the Rhinebeck Science Foundation board meeting last week. They talked about Discovery Festival, October 26th from 10 to 2 in this building. It's every 2-year event. It's a lot of fun. Encourage you all to go if you're not going to the NYSSBA conference. They also, the 2019 Drawdown Learning Conference at Omega, they're sponsoring 20 weekend passes for students, grades 9 through 12, teachers and staff. Anybody who's interested, reach out to them. Or Chantel, I guess, would know as well.
Yeah, I have a couple. You'll be thrilled to find out that the town of Rhinebeck is going to be using our high school gymnasium to sponsor pickleball every Thursday night for, I'm not making this up,
I saw the
every
email.
Thursday night during a pretty good chunk of the school year when it doesn't conflict with our athletic practices and whatnot. So that's, I think that's gearing up to start pretty soon. So just so
Reserve
you,
your spot.
what's that?
Reserve your spot.
Don't
I-
laugh.
well-
I play tennis at the Brett Park, and by 6 o'clock every night, there's like 8 or 10 people there playing pickleball. I get kicked off the court because
Mhm.
not all the courts have the lines for pickleball. But it's a popular thing. It's great.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Sunday I had a soccer game in Newburgh, and right next to it were tennis courts, and there was 4 courts of them playing pickleball.
Yeah.
Nobody playing tennis, everybody playing pickleball.
Also, just so you're aware, Red Hook, must be the town of Red Hook or maybe the village, has a pickleball thing going on at one of the Red Hook schools. I think it's like on Tuesday nights, and the town of Rhinebeck has already gotten a lot of interest from the people who play at Red Hook. They want another night. So the diehards are going to play up at Red Hook on, I think it's Tuesday nights, and Rhinebeck on Thursday nights. So
For the
that,
league, you know.
Yeah.
well, that's, I think
Sponsorship.
they're pretty darn close to it. So, so I just want to let you know that we are cooperating with the town of Rhinebeck to make our facility available to them. We are also pursuing, well, we're not pursuing, we're the pursued, but there's been some interest expressed by a company out of Pennsylvania, I think, that wants to use the front of Chancellor Livingston to shoot a commercial for baby products or
Yeah, or some type of baby
furniture,
product.
something
Yep.
like that. So I mean, and they're willing to pay us money for that. Nothing that's going to balance our budget, but several $100s. It'll be on a Saturday, so it won't interrupt the instructional program. But so if you drive past Chancellor, and Steve might be more inclined to see it before anybody else. Yeah, I think they're looking at doing it sometime in mid to late October. If you see them out there shooting, apparently they're going to be shooting this commercial for they went 5 hours over at the. So in case anybody asks you, that's what it's about.
Lots
And,
of baby furniture.
yeah, and they will be paying us for the privilege of shooting that commercial on our property.
Yours?
Well, I've got another one for other.
Well, no, still good news.
No, okay.
So we had our building tour tonight, and I have to say that the buildings look really wonderful. The new tile, new paint jobs, new ceilings, lighting. Everything looks really great, and more to come next summer. So, and as the administrator said earlier, thanks to our buildings and grounds team for doing all the extra work that wasn't part of the project.
And considering it was the shortest summer you could ever get. I mean, you
Really,
couldn't
it started
end
later
any
and ended
later.
earlier than we've ever had before.
I have, school ended as late as I've ever known it, and it started as early as it could. So they didn't have much time to work. And that's all the summer workers.
I think the PTSO back-to-school picnic was a
Yeah,
success
great.
as usual.
I would like to make special note of the grill masters who are participating. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Matt.
Still coughing from the smoke.
Well, I have to tell you a funny anecdote. I got home from grilling there for, I don't know, an hour and a half that we were grilling. And I went to the house and sat down and watched a little bit of TV. And our dog came over and he was licking my jeans. And I said to my wife, "What's with him? This is so weird. He never does that." Then I realized all that greasy smoke was all over my pants.
Yeah, those shorts I was wearing, they're done. It was a fun event, though. I think the kids really
Yep.
enjoyed it.
Was. Very well attended.
Yeah.
Very well attended.
Any old
Kinda
business?
had probably-
I have one. If you would, and you don't have to do it now, but I would appreciate if you do it within the next day or so. I'm trying to set up a date for a breakfast with the board, as I mentioned in my memo to you. It's typically starts over here around 7 a.m. and it ends about 8:45 a.m. over Chancery. We go from here to there to meet with both staffs because their starting times are different, of course. Obviously, we'd like a good turnout by board members. We also know that not everybody can attend. You know, you have work schedules. Feel free to attend one, if not the other, or stop in for 15 minutes and, you know, whatever. Just, I think it's a good opportunity for board members to show their face and have an opportunity. It came out of the communications committee many years ago. That was an opportunity for some face-to-face communication with our staff. It's mostly teachers, although it's open to all of our staff. So I'm looking at Friday, October 18th. This year I'm working around NYSSBA, which is the following weekend, and a bunch of other things are happening. So that's the date that looks most promising. So if you would check your calendars, again, you don't have to do it now, I don't need to know tonight. I'll send out an email another day or so just polling you. But I'd like to nail that down, get a save the date out to our faculty, let Larry Anthony know that we're needing him to provide some food for us. And we'll probably be in the middle school cafeteria here for the first session, and then in the community room over at Chancellor Livingston for the second session. So we'd appreciate as many of you who can join us to join us. And if it turns out that date works for only one or two people, then we'll look for another date. But right now, that looks like it's the least interfering with school activities that are going on. You know, one of the other Fridays, I think John had a group of had a class that was going on a field trip. So he said, well, none of the 6th grade teachers will be able to be there because they'll be getting their kids out of the door. So I want to do it on a day when our teachers are going to be around. So let me know.
Joe, can I just suggest, while I'm thinking about it,
Mhm.
maybe we could name tags? We've had that in the past,
Yeah.
but not everybody always knows who's who. And
You mean name tags for board
us,
members?
For us, so
Well,
that,
I'll talk to the district clerk. She might be able to arrange for that.
Hello, my name is.
but not everybody knows.
No, I agree with you. Especially, and we've got a lot of new staff this year too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sure we can arrange for that.
Another opportunity for public comment.
I make a public comment, thanks.
You-
I think you all know me, I'm Bill Carney. I just want to bring something with what was said. I think the building project was great. I didn't doubt that we'd be ready to go, but the level that we were ready to go, I mean, I couldn't notice anything that was out. That shocked me. We've had that before. That's to be expected. I think the staff, the people that we had working, coming in, they all did a great job. And in the 140 room where we had our windows done, the difference is, we've had some uncomfortable days. I'm not going to complain about any in the summer ever. I love it. But we've had a couple of uncomfortable days. There's a vast difference now that we have the screens, we can open the windows, and we don't have wasps or bees coming in. It's always been a problem. I mean, it's just the way, it's a huge difference. And that's because of the work that was done. I think it was great. I think the work was great. I wanted to say that. It's much more comfortable for the students. And the other thing I wanted to say, I wish that Ed and John were still here. It's a personal comment. I have the 9th grade class at algebra, and speak with the other 9th grade teachers. What we've really seen, I think I've noticed more in the last 2 years, but I think we always see it, is how kind our students are. They're just such a great group. Because I think this speaks for the whole Rhinebeck community, the Rhinebeck Central School District community. And they should really be congratulated, as well as you, parents, the teachers, but the students themselves. They really are a really great bunch of kids. And I had a teacher in 9th grade who was a really good teacher, but his one comment he made was that being nice is overrated. I couldn't disagree with him more. I want to have my students be the best math students they can be, but I'd much rather see them be nice students. And so we have much more inclusion now, and it works tremendously because our students are so caring and so responsible to each other. It's congratulated and everybody involved. I wanted to make that known, especially this year's 9th grade and last year's. I've seen it. I think because I'm looking a little bit more with what we have at the Common Core, they really do a great job. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Other?
I have one. So I was at the town of Rhinebeck board meeting last night, and there was a report from the chair of the Panda board, and he mentioned all the programming that they have on Panda, and mentioned that Red Hook, our neighboring school district, has just started providing recordings of their board meetings to Panda because they just started recording their meetings last year. And he mentioned that Rhinebeck was not providing them with content, and so I contacted Joe because I know at one time we were providing recordings of our meetings to Panda, and so today we've reached out to Panda, and we're getting that corrected, so we'll be providing the content again for Panda.
Thanks,
I would, no problem as far as I'm concerned. I just wanted to let the board know that we haven't not been providing that content because they haven't seemed to have been interested or asking for it. I mean, like Mark said, we did it all the time, and we're talking about back in the Vinnie Nugent days.
Yeah, that was.
Well, I mean, it's not all that. You know, I asked Ed how long Vinnie has been retired, and he said, he thought about maybe 6 or 7 years. And I guess I'll say it at the risk of great political peril, but it seemed like over the ensuing years that kind of Panda was either had a low profile, or again, if they'd asked us, since we've been videoing these meetings, and that's what I told the guy that I talked to today. I said, we've been doing this for years. I said, I could give you years worth of it if you want, but at least on a monthly basis, we already video our meetings. So he was going to get back to me about, and hopefully he will. He told me, I've been meaning to reach out to the school district for the last year or so.
We're so hard to find.
But I'm happy to have
Don't send
them
this one to Panda now.
run our programming, and he offered that if we had other programming on video, like class projects or whatever, they'd be happy to run those. I talked to Ed Davenport this afternoon, and he said, wow, I wonder if they'd be interested in running our daily announcements, because they're videoing them. I mean, who knows? But we I'm sure we can give them content in addition to the board meetings that we're videoing. So anyway, I thought that was good news. It was nice to know they're still doing their thing, and because if you don't live in Rhinebeck, I don't get Panda out in the town of Clinton. So for all I know, that they could have been shut down for the last 5 or 10 years.
He actually mentioned that they're looking to provide the programming digitally, so you could get it off their website, or you can get an app that you could get it on your phone.
Yeah.
So there's
Good
more
idea.
opportunity for people who don't get Spectrum
Sure.
cable to be able to get it.
Sure, absolutely. So thanks for making that connection for us, Mark.
You're welcome.
Any other?
Not on you.
Just when Whitney put together that list of community volunteers, did you know if we wanted to talk about that or leave that to communications, come up with a schedule for recognition, how do we want to go forward?
Just so happens we're meeting pretty soon, aren't we?
March 19th, wasn't
Yeah.
it? 18th, oh, okay.
No, that was policy.
Actually, yeah, no, we did just meet, so we're not
Yeah.
meeting until October 23rd, but
And there's more on that list than I thought,
Mhm.
it's quite a big list, so I don't know that we want to do individuals.
yeah, I was just
That
gonna
would
ask,
be- But if you had maybe more than one, date in case someone couldn't come on the one day that you picked, maybe.
I was
I
wondering
don't
if
know.
you could do like individuals 1 month and then maybe the community member ones a separate month. Like, it doesn't have to be the beginning of the year, right? I mean, it could be throughout.
Oh, it could be any time of year.
And that way you give everybody.
You could do one in the fall, one in the spring, or,
Right,
you know.
right.
So I think we can probably kick that around and come back to the board with a proposal and take it from there instead of, batting it around here. But that's up to you guys. Yeah, that's why I had Whitney put that list together, so we had some idea of the enormity of the list, and it's pretty significant. A lot of people, individuals and groups. So we'll keep it on our communications agenda and get back to you with a plan.
Any other? Okay, so move on to action items. Anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Okay. On the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the following consent items.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor? That motion passes. I just want to recognize the two, speaking of donations, the PPSO and the Science Foundation. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the civil service appointment of Shiloh Martinez to the position of food service helper, 5.75 hours per diem with a 26-week probationary period effective September 11th, 2019, at a salary of step 1, $13 per hour in accordance with the anti-salary schedule for the 2019-20 school year.
So moved.
second,
Any comment or discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. The recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved, the Rhinebeck Central School District Board of Education be and hereby establishes a 5-day work week, 7-hour day as a standard work day for employees for the purpose of determining days worked, reportable to the New York State and local employees retirement system for the following positions: Director of Facilities 2, Administrative School Secretary, School District Treasurer, Account Clerk, Senior Account Clerk, Secretary to the Superintendent, Personnel Assistant, Microcomputer Technician, Microcomputer System Specialist, Athletic Trainer, Food Service Worker, School Monitor, Teacher Aide, Health Aide, Library Clerk, Attendance Clerk, Clerk, Typist, Typist School Monitor, Senior Typist, Guidance Aide, School Tax Collector, Clerk of the Board, and School District Internal Claims Auditor. Be it also resolved that the Rhinebeck Central School District Board of Education hereby establishes a 5-day work week, 8-hour day as a standard work day for employees for the purpose of determining days worked reportable to the New York State and local employees retirement system for the following positions: custodial worker, maintenance mechanic, senior custodial worker, groundskeeper, groundskeeper/custodial worker, custodian, and assistant maintenance worker. And be it also resolved that the Rhinebeck Central School District Board of Education hereby establishes a 5-day work week, 6.5-hour day as a standard work day for employees for the purpose of determining days worked reportable to the New York State and local employees retirement system for the following positions: registered nurse, licensed practical nurse, and interpreter for the hearing impaired.
Need a motion?
oh,
So moved.
second,
Can I ask Tom to explain why we do this, why we're doing this?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We've done it kind of piecemeal over the past few years, and we decided to just reestablish the whole thing. This is for the employees' retirement system. They want to know what an employee's full day is. So we actually have 3 full-day type of people. We have people who are at 6.5 hours, 7 hours, and 8 hours, depending on what position they're in. So this just establishes it with the retirement system when they figure out people's days, that they don't overcredit or undercredit somebody.
And these are all positions?
These
in our
are
school
all
district?
various non-instructional positions. Not all of them we don't have people in every single one of them or things of that nature, but just in case.
Thanks, Tom. Any questions?
Just a little tiny typo, just for the record. In the first be it resolved, there's, in the second line, there's an extra be and before hereby. I don't know if that makes sense. Be it resolved that the Rhinebeck Central School Board District, District Board of Education be and hereby establishes,
Yep.
just for the record.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Any other discussion or question? All those in favor? That motion passes. Yeah, I have to read it first.
Yeah, no, yeah, of course.
Motion upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the civil service appointment of Tamisha Greenhill to the 1.0 FD position of senior account clerk, 7.0 hours per diem with a 26-week probationary period, effective October 15th, 2019, at a salary of $46,000 prorated.
So moved.
Second?
Can I have a motion to table this?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor to table item 6.4? That's tabled. Okay. I have a motion upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the appointment of Christine Kurlander as her leave replacement in the position of classroom teacher, grade 3 at the Chancellor Livingston Elementary School, effective on or about October 10th, 2019 through February 13th, 2020, at the pleasure of the board with a salary of $350 per diem in accordance with the board policy 9410, instructional substitute compensation, and the non-unit salaries for 2019-20. This appointment is to fill the vacancy created by the leave of absence granted to Megan Kraft, grade 3 elementary classroom teacher at Chancellor Livingston Elementary School.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? That motion passes. Motion upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the appointment of Christine Martin to provide teacher aid services for varsity swim team practices and for meets as necessary and appropriate, and to approve the appointment of Larry Smith to provide teacher aid services for varsity football practices and for games as necessary and appropriate, for an increase of 1.0 to 2.0 hours per day, for a total of 2.0 to 4.0 hours each day, effective for the 2019-2020 fall season, starting off August 19, 2019, in accordance with the 2019-2020 annual salary schedule.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
I thought Christine was already doing this one. Is this?
Yes, it's when Emily Davison gave us the recommendation, she was using like home games and home meets to calculate the number of hours per day. But when they have away games and whatnot, it's closer to between 2 and 4 hours as opposed to 1 to 2 hours. So we just need to update the actual times that we're seeing.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favor? That motion passes.
Okay.
And I have a motion to move into executive session for the discussion of a particular person's employment history.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?